Well, hello, drum community. Jim Flies 2 here, and I thought I would go online and just check out a few things and see how the looming tariffs might be affecting some purchases from China. Or is it China? I can't remember. I just keep hearing that. Anyway, I came across a drum head here that maybe you guys have got some familiarity with this, but it's Aolu. This one is a 14-inch drum head. It says it's $22.01. Usually they're selling their entire pack of, like a 5-piece drum kit headset, single ply, 25 to $39, something like that. But I noticed this one, for like a 10-inch drum is $16.68, 14 is $22.01. And if we look at it, it appears to be like a FiberSkin Remo. FiberSkin 3, I guess is what they call it now. Very similar coating, right? But then it says, where did I see that? Oh, material, PVC, which evidently is probably a little different than Mylar. Single layer, thickness 2 mil. That's 2 thousandths. What does that mean? Origin Tianjin, China. All right, 10, 12, 14, 16, and 22. Surface finishing type. Bleach. What does that mean? I have no idea. Anybody? 2 mil thickness. All right, so any drummers, at least in America, would see this as, yeah, that's going to be way too thin to use on a drum head. So are they saying that the finish, the fiber skin layer is 2 mils? That would make sense, and that it's a 10 mil head, but then that would make it a 12 mil head. Oh yeah, here it says 2 mil thick. What they need is they need somebody from the West in advising them of these common things that need to be disclosed. But more than that, I looked at the price of a 14-inch unbranded, well, it's branded, but who knows what it is really. Unbranded head, 2201. Well, let's go to one of my favorite websites for buying drum stuff, Sweetwater, which will not steal your credit card information. I'm not saying that Temu will. I'm just saying I've heard stories. And I've had purchases myself that, why did Visa call me with a credit card alert and have to issue me new cards after I made purchases? I'm not saying there's a direct connection, but I'm just saying, watch out. Here's a Remo Ambassador fiber skin drum head, 14-inch, $23.95. Okay. And like Temu, these guys ship free and fast. I don't know how fast it is. The last time I ordered from Sweetwater, I live in Wisconsin. They're in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and it took like over a week, and it came U.S. mail. But I'm like, that seems a little bit slow. And here we go for our FiberSkin Diplomat weight, which is 7.5 mil or 7 mil. Can't remember. It used to be 7.5. I think it's 7 now. 7 mil, $23.95. Same price as the Ambassador. Occasionally, I like to use these on a snare drum, but I don't know. What are you guys thinking? Anybody tried this? Skeptical. There's a 22-inch for $45. That's the same price as anything else. What do you think? That seems a little bit priced. Now you could say that, well, it's the tariff price is included, but that's not true because I looked on other drum heads and stuff, and they're still priced way down at like $25 for a whole set. And then they've got the old FiberSkin or not FiberSkin pinstripe knockoffs for what they were before. So I'm not sure. These items probably were already warehoused in the U.S. somewhere, and then they're being shipped to you. What do you think on that? I'm just curious. I work at a retail music store and do brass instrument repair there. And I just heard yesterday that as of now, Sabian isn't even going to sell any of their products that are made in China in the U.S. because they had to redo their their pricing structure like 3 times, like 3 different updates, and they said, "Forget it, we're not even going to do it." But my question is, Sabian is a Canadian company. Now, maybe you can fill me in on this, and I'm not making a political argument either way about tariffs. That's not my role, and that's not really my interest here. Um, you can comment. That's fine. I'll read them and I'll leave them up. I think it makes for an interesting conversation. But okay, Sabian's a Canadian company. Canadian is not tariffing uh, import duties on Chinese-made goods. So why can't they get them into Canada? And ostensibly, they're not packaged in any kind of presentation packaging. All they have to do is put them in a new box, plastic, whatever, and ship it to their warehouse in. They've got a warehouse over in Norwell, Mass, where Zildjian is. How do I know that? I know that because I talked to Robert Zildjian on my honeymoon. What? Yeah, my wife and I were eating at a diner nearby, and I looked up in the yellow pages, Zildjian, and I'm like, oh, there's a guy, Robert Zildjian. He maybe knows something about getting a Zildjian factory tour. I start talking to the guy, and he's like, oh, this is Robert. I own the Zildjian factory, but I've got a warehouse here if you'd like a tour. And I'm like, ah, I'd love to, but I'm kind of on my honeymoon. Although my wife would have dug going to a factory and seeing how cymbals were made. But no, I mean, obviously, Canada has the Sabian factory. Anyway, all that aside, why can't they just, like, again, ship them to Canada and then Canada imports them to the U.S. for a nominal import duty? Like we pay for other things. So I don't know. But I mean, you can think what you want or say what you want. In my opinion, Paiste still makes the best gongs and tam-tams. Zildjians, I've seen, and used. They were okay. I think most of their stuff is also being imported from China. I'm not sure, but having been in Thailand recently and seeing Chinese gongs, by the time you would, do the exchange rate, those gongs were just as expensive as if you would have purchased them in the U.S. anyway. And by the time you would pay the airline to put it underneath or whatever, it would have been way too much. Anyway, leave your thoughts. Let me know what you think. Regarding that situation. The bright side from a brass repairman, and my videos doing brass instrument repair, is we won't be seeing, I pray that we won't be seeing some of those god-awful instruments that are being made and branded under such names as Mendini and Sembler and some other, they've got a digital machine that's just laser engraving, okay, today we're going to run Mendini, today we're going to run this, and they're just absolute junk. The valves don't work right, the fit and finish is awful, they don't play well, the design engineering into them is just horrid. So the good news is maybe we'll stop seeing an immense flow of that junk and be relying on other brands that have done well. Yamaha used to make all their student line stuff in America. I think they moved about 20 years ago. I toured their factory in Grand Rapids, Michigan. All the stuff in Elkhart, Indiana. We've not made any saxophones in the U.S. in 20 years, 25. Maybe we'll see some of that manufacturing come back. Anyway, I'm just throwing it out there. What do you think? Anybody got any experience with the Owlu heads? 2 mil thick. Tell me what you think. Leave a message. Leave your comments. Thanks, guys. We'll see you again. Bye.